You're listening to Polished Woman, only on LA Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone. Polished Women, another very interesting episode. This episode is actually very, very, dear to me, and it's because I'm very passionate about it. In fact, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to have this show, because I went through this a lot. There was a lot. I can share so much, but I want to cut it short because I want to, tell you about anxiety. Anxiety is something that a lot of people suffer through in silence, either because they don't know how to talk about it, or they don't even realize that it's something that they're dealing with until something else happens in their lives that makes them acknowledge something is wrong. It's important to talk about it, though, because that's the first step towards identifying it and getting help. Many of us have a bad habit of looking at people and assuming we know them or we know what their lives might be like. We have these mental pictures and think, oh, she must be very happy because she looks like this and she smiles all the time, or that she must not care about herself because she looks like that. And so when someone tells us that they're not having anxiety, sometimes our first thought is, why do you have to be anxious? What do you have to be anxious about? Rather than trying to be helpful, we become judgmental. So I want to talk about this. Right now, we have our guest, my favorite doctor that really helped me through a lot, Dr. Sun. How are you?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm good.
So, yeah, Dr. Sun is from Integrative Wellness Center that helped me find this great pellet. I'll talk about this, but I'll introduce Nadine. On my right is Nadine.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi,
and
Jen.
she helped a lot of women, that went through anxiety by what? By her nutrition.
With nutrition and exercise.
And exercise. It's like crazy that things that you eat also actually gives you anxiety. And
Absolutely.
on my left side is Debbie.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah. Okay. Debbie is actually going through a lot right now, and we're here. Dr. Sun's here, and Nadine is here to help Debbie. So, Debbie, do you have any questions right now to Dr. Sun or to Nadine?
Well, what I want to say is that it's hard because the first thing that they want to treat you with is medication.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel like it has its place. Absolutely. It has really saved me from time to time.
Okay.
But I don't think enough is done or taught to us about nutrition and exercise and helping with the anxiety.
Absolutely. The medication could be a Band-Aid sometimes.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Where we're not actually looking at the cause.
Yeah, medication, which means like Zoloft.
Right. Xanax,
that's
Zoloft,
not good for you.
or the antidepressants even,
Yes.
And
Right, Dr. Sun?
Yeah, we are what we think. So anxiety has a lot to do with our thoughts. But it comes with it also nutrition. We are what we eat. Some food can trigger anxiety.
Yes.
And what I specialize is the hormone pellet therapy, which we use bioidentical testosterone or estrogen or combine both, depends on your needs. That because testosterone and estrogen both can increase our blood flow to the brain and increase neurotransmitters such as serotonin and dopamine that can calm ourselves down. So that's a natural way of treating anxiety. So there are different pathways, but the best is really if you combine all of them together, you get the best result.
Right.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
nutrition, like what kind of nutrition do you want to suggest to her? Does she need to go through? Oh, by the way, we have the spinner test. Maybe this is one thing that she can have, this is like, a food intolerance test.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That you can, use, and you can do this at home.
Okay.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
the Pinner test just checks out what foods you might be intolerant to, and that's very important. But I will tell you, even before I talk to a client about the types of food, I talk to them about how frequently they're eating. Because our blood sugar really can affect our mood and our thoughts and our energy levels, and whether we feel motivated throughout our day or whether we're feeling like a deflated balloon, as I often say. So the key really is to be eating every 3 hours approximately, so that you're keeping your blood sugar stable and that you're leading with protein.
And the struggle with anxiety in that is when you're feeling anxious or going through a bad stage of anxiety.
Absolutely.
You don't want to eat. It kind of kills your, or at least for me, I should say, I shouldn't speak for everyone, but for me, I don't eat.
Oh, absolutely,
And so it's learning how to eat, because it's not a natural. In other words, it's not natural for me to like to eat a lot.
Right.
So I almost have to learn how to make it a habit.
Absolutely. So your body is wired to maintain where you're at. So I often tell my clients, if you're trying to create a change, you need to think through the change first and then act upon it before it feels natural, right? Because if you just eat how you want to eat naturally, it's not going to, help you break out of that pattern of anxiety and depression. So it's more like setting a schedule with the nutritionist of what you should be eating and how often, and then making that your job. It's your job to heal yourself, right? Yeah.
Dr. Sun, what is the biggest misconception that people usually have about using hormones to treat anxiety?
Most people don't know hormone can treat anxiety.
Yeah.
And the misconception really is the hormone is just for hot flash.
Yeah.
But the hormone, when it's steadily released, can really stabilize our emotional mood, because the stabilize of neurotransmitters.
Yeah.
So really, it's not that big misconception. Really, it's people are not aware of it.
Yeah, I know. I remember, doctor, you guys, I remember when I went to doctor, I was really down. I did everything from, taking homeopathic pills and acupuncture, every meditation, everything. But when I went to her, and I remember, this is really funny, because I went to her and I was crying, right, Doc? I was crying and I was like, what? I know, I was a mess. Like, and there's like the tissue paper like beside me, and she's like, I think that you're gonna cry. And she was like, and she explained to me, Jessica, this is very interesting. So not only the food, not only the moods and everything that can actually help us. It's you told me, Doc, that sex is a big factor of having anxiety, right, Doc?
I didn't hear it quite right.
Oh,
so which
remember you told me that sex also is a big factor. It's one of the factor that of having anxiety. If you don't get what do you call it? If you don't have orgasm and everything. Right?
You mean sex.
Right, Doc?
Tell us your secrets, doctor.
Or is that only between you and I?
Well, that's what we call the sex therapy, right?
Right. No, but it's
really,
but it's actually, I felt like it's actually true, because when I did the pellet, it actually increased my sexual, whatever you call it, like, my appetite and
your sex life.
Yeah, my sex life, and I actually felt a little bit better. But of course, I still go through the meditation and right food and and what do you call that? Acupuncture and all those things. I still get that, but it really helped me a lot. Like after I do the pellet, which I'll show you guys, in one of my what do you call that? Social media, and how I did it. It's just an amazing thing. It helped me. Like after a few weeks, I feel good about myself.
Right.
Like it's just amazing.
Well, and that's another thing. Excuse me.
I want to say many people, and many women, does not know the importance of testosterone. We all know that testosterone is a major hormone for men, which increase their libido, increase their muscle mass, and help them lose weight easier. And that it can do the same thing for women too. just men has 10 times more testosterone than women, but women still need it. It also helps with our sex drive. When you have a happy sex life, you are more relaxed because the secretion of endorphin, the binding.
And your mood changes.
Right. And also it builds muscle to help you lose weight easier. And the most important thing really does help with your mood and emotion, because I've been doing the pellet therapy for over 10 years now. And people come to me, they always tell me that the biggest benefit they get really is to stabilize their mood, make them happier and not so grouchy or irritable.
No, I really felt that.
That comes with it. They really like the libido and energy.
The energy is very important, right?
Right, and I do think anxiety is tied in a lot to hormones, like she's saying, because it's funny. There are certain times in my life where, like right after I turned 40, I went through a really bad anxiety depression.
Sure.
And they talked about it possibly being hormones, but then they didn't really offer a solution. So that's what's hard is even if you have I have a wonderful doctor, and he's very much a woman's advocate, so he really listens and he really hears, but there wasn't really a solution. You know, the solution became more of a pharmaceutical medication.
Right.
You know, and I think that we all want to feel good and feel healthy, and there's just other ways around it.
Oh, absolutely.
So now you know.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, I've heard with a lot of my clients that once you start the medications, there's so many side effects, like the weight gain that you can't, seem to get rid of.
No matter what I do.
Yeah, just change in appetite. And I think when you're able to take control of the situation with nutrition, with meditation, with a doctor like Dr. Sun, then you feel like you've gotten the control back.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And you've boosted your confidence and you're on the good cycle.
I'm actually semi-retiring in a couple of weeks so that I can go this route and take care of myself. Not that women have to retire to do it, but I don't think we take the time to take care of ourselves.
You know what's funny? Dr. Sun told me that when I was crying one time. Remember, Dr. Sun? You were like, Jessica, you do too much for your husband.
That's a very common for women. We take care of everybody else except ourselves.
And she was like, what do you do for yourself? I remember you told me that and you made me cry.
Yes, it's true though. And we can have all these excuses, but until we really put ourselves first and say, I'm not being a good wife to my husband or a good mother to my child because I'm always sick and I need to take care of myself.
Yeah, well, you can't pour from an empty pot, right? You have to fill yourself up first, and then you'll be so much better in every role that you play.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So wait, can I ask you about, you have kids. How many kids do you have?
I do. You know, I have 3 children.
And how
amazing.
if you just said that every 3 hours you have to eat? What kind
Yeah.
of, how she has to eat with the kids and have
2 of my
snacks?
children are older. I'll tell you, I was lucky enough to have children at different time in my life. So I have 2 older grown children who are out of the house, and then I have a 14-year-old, and I'm constantly feeding him. Constantly.
Right. Well, see, that's the whole thing. So kids self-regulate, right? Until they get to be a certain age, and then society kind of takes over. You just have to make it happen. I tell all my clients, set a timer. When you wake up, set a timer. Within 1 hour, you need to be eating. 3 hours after that, you need to be eating again. And then you just want to set yourself up for success by having snacks on hand. So, miniature packets of almonds and jerkies and
those
fruit.
are the simple snacks.
Yeah, just simple things that you can grab. And keep in mind that food should be your fuel. So not every meal is going to be this amazing, decadent, sit down and savor every bite.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes it's just simply fuel, right? It's just a handful of almonds because, you have a busy morning with your 14-year-old.
Yeah.
Right?
That's actually an easier way for me to look at it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of lucky. I don't love food.
Sure.
But I know, and I'm not getting the fuel I need. I know that. There are days when I don't even eat till 3 o'clock.
I have a question for Dr. Sun for you.
Sure.
Oh, goodness.
Dr. Sun, she just mentioned that when she's going through anxiety, she couldn't eat. Why is that?
Why is that? I think we are built differently. Some people eat excessively.
Yeah.
Some people don't eat. They're just very individualized. But I think Nadine says right. You have to eat regularly to avoid hypoglycemic episode. And the other thing is I really think we have to eat right food. Because if you eat the wrong food with a lot of sugar or a lot of coffee, caffeine, then that stimulates you, get you more anxious.
Absolutely.
Oh, Doc, don't forget about what you know, what you call that? You found out about me. Remember the mercury? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, by the
High
way,
levels of
doctor.
mercury.
Okay, by the way, Dr. Sun was the only doctor that found out that my mercury has a very high level, and that actually also, right, Doc? That also actually triggered some of my anxiety, and she told me, she's like, oh, mercury sometimes can give you anxiety, and she was the one who. I was like, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I love eating sushi.
How would you even know? You go to a doctor and you just trust that they're going to check the right things, but unless you find a really good one, like Dr. Sun.
Like Dr. Sun.
Yeah.
So you go to Dr. Sun.
Oh, I'm going. Dr. Sun, I'm coming for you.
Me too.
Doc, how do we contact you? Where can you tell everyone? But it's so hard to go. It's so hard already to get an appointment with you. So, how do they contact you? You better make sure to have space for me. I need you every 6 months.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's only every 6 months that you.
Okay.
Doc, how do you contact? How do they?
Something about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do want to say something about mercury. It's mostly from seafood we eat, especially the big fish. We don't really realize we're exposing to the mercury until it accumulates in our body, and then mostly it stores in our brain. It can affect our brain function. Anxiety may be the minor things, but eventually I think can lead to Alzheimer's and memory loss. Because I had mercury issues myself. I used to eat seafood a lot. I went to the Japanese restaurant at least twice a week.
I know.
And I had some mercury fillings in my mouth. And I had to chelate myself from mercury. I did it for over about a period about a year. And after that, I feel my memory become much better. Before that, sometimes I couldn't find a word. And
I'm
it was
very
embarrassing.
foggy. I keep saying
so
my
I want to
memories.
emphasize that toxin exposure are very important for our brain function too.
Oh my gosh. Doc, I know I still have to do my mercury test. I still haven't done it because I know I've been eating fish lately and I shouldn't have been eating fish. But it's healthy for you. But you just have to eat like the smaller fish, right, Doc? Is that what it is?
Correct.
Yeah. So like sardines, sardines, whitefish.
Starting anchovy.
Yes,
Right.
anchovy, whitefish. What
Make
else?
sure that it's wild.
Yeah. Does it have to be wild? Is salmon like part of it?
Salmon is a big fish, and mostly are farmed. When they are farmed, they're fed with corn and also dye to color their color to pink.
That's right.
And so they have a different type of toxins in the farmed salmon.
Right. And there's so many
the
hormones.
seafood I eat a lot more now is like scallop or squid, because you don't want to have the fish that eat other fish, and they live longer, so they have mercury accumulating in your body. But scallop or squid, they don't have a lot of mercury exposure, so they are safer to eat.
Sure.
Oh, Doc, do you have any advice for Debbie? What should she do from here? Because we're gonna call her in about 3 months and check on her, and come back here and if I want her to see you.
Definitely.
We go to you, and then I want her to follow some of Nadine's nutrition, advice. And so, what can you advise her to do from now on?
Well, I think the first step really is call my office for appointment. And I usually have people
Let her
do a
work her
bunch of
magic.
blood tests to see how their hormone levels are and any toxin exposures. And then I have to talk to her face to face to get her histories, where's her anxiety coming from, what it's due to. And because I don't treat people the same, it's very individualized. And that's why I have to go know her first.
Right,
and,
right.
And then I can design a treatment plan for her.
Yeah. Oh, that's so
Oh, I'm
good.
so
make
looking
sense?
forward to it.
Yeah.
It really does, yes. And I do really feel strongly about hormones being a part of it, just because of how it has affected me at the different times in my life.
Doc, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr.
Oh,
Sun.
my pleasure.
Thank you, ladies.
Okay, thank you, Doc. And I'm going to see you, I think, in a few, like a month, I think.
Yes, you got to come back to see me.
Yeah, and I'll do my
Otherwise, I
mercury
miss you,
test
right?
again. I love you, Doc. Oh my gosh, you saved my life. All right. Bye, Doc.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Nice.
Okay, now that so I want,
Yeah.
now let's really go to the nutrition fact. I wanted
Right.
to share, like, how did you find out that you're suffering from anxiety?
I always say I had my nervous breakdown because I was one of these people who went 24 miles an hour. I mean, I was just always a doer and
Sure.
go. And then it's like I hit a wall one day. I had kind of a little bit of a breakdown. And I literally could not leave my house. I went from being someone who was outgoing and outspoken to where for a good 6 weeks, I did not leave my house. And even the sunlight hurt my eyes. Like And
So rough.
another weird pattern that happens, and I'm hoping diet will help that, is when I'm going through a phase, I'm not sure how to call it, but a phase is what I'm going to call it,
Yeah.
is you feel safer at night. So you sleep during the day and you're up at night. And that could be a little bit of depression, which is the other side of anxiety.
Right.
But I also believe that when you talk about blood sugar, I feel that in my body that it's off sometimes.
Yeah.
Are you,
So
are you
certain-
love dessert and stuff?
I don't eat correct, and I think that's going to be a big factor in getting on the right track.
Yeah. So when we don't eat frequently enough, our bodies crave high fat, high sugar foods. And the higher the sugar in a food, the higher it's going to spike our blood sugar. And then once our blood sugar spikes to that really high point, it's going to drop significantly lower. And when it drops, that's when we don't feel well. That's when our energy tanks. We feel shaky. We feel anxious.
Yeah.
Right? And so
Right.
the idea is not only to eat every 3 hours, but to pick really good quality food, clean foods that your body knows exactly how to process.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
but remember, check your mercury.
I
Oh,
know.
check that too.
Check your
Yeah.
fish.
That's,
You know.
I don't
Yeah.
eat a lot of fish, so I
Okay.
think, but I still, I do want to talk to her because it's like I don't eat a lot of fish, but I'm having a lot of problems
Yeah.
with my memory.
Well, and I'm sure there's so much that Dr. Sun can check, in regards to like vitamin D levels
Yeah.
and all those
Right.
types of things.
Yeah. How many calories a day does she have to
An average person.
Yeah, an average
Yeah.
person.
You know what? We don't refer to calories quite so much anymore because it's more about the quality than the
Yeah,
calories. So
I
it's
know.
more about nutrients. So to give you an idea, our bodies need about 54 nutrients to feel satisfied in every meal.
Wow.
Yeah. So if we go and we grab something really processed, like a bar, or like a pre-made shake or something that just has a lot of chemicals in it, there's a lot of calories that our body isn't able to digest. And then
Ooh, I
those
like
go
that.
into your body and they get stored in your fat cells, and you're left with like nothing to actually use for energy.
So you
the
mean you
fuel.
don't want us to buy those juices and shake that you see on the
Yeah,
like
they're
those-
overly processed.
Oh.
Yeah, so in order to be sold, oftentimes they need to go through something called pasteurization.
Right.
And that's when they're heated at really high temperatures. And when you heat anything at a really high temperature, you're losing all the
Loses.
nutrients.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, nature's fast food, apples, almonds, jerkies,
Yeah.
things that are really quick and easy, almond butter, peanut butter, that type of thing to keep yourself fueled, and just think high nutrients always.
You don't have a problem with peanut butter. I don't know why people are always making. I
don't
love
have a
peanut
problem.
butter.
I know.
love peanut butter.
For
It
some
actually gives me
people-
acne.
It's making it sound
Yeah,
horrible.
for
Gives me
some
acne.
people, yeah. It's, everybody's body is totally unique,
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
their diet should be totally personalized to them. And for some people, yeah, technically a peanut is a legume, and it can bother some people. It can
But
cause
don't
inflammation.
they have too much fat though?
No, our
at
bodies
all?
need healthy fat. We
Right.
really, really need fat for fuel. It's the number one thing that helps our brain function.
Yeah.
Right? While our protein helps our amino acids and our muscles, and the carbohydrate helps our energy, the healthy fats really do
Yeah.
feed our brain.
That's another thing that I'm really interested in is I get a lot of joint pain, and I
sure.
really
So
believe that
inflammation.
has to do with diet, and
Yeah.
and I don't think you have to be allergic to something like you said, what is the other word? Sensitive to it, or
yeah, you can have a sensitivity, intolerant.
Right.
And here's the thing: we can have what's called try the Pinner test.
Get this and then get what do you call that? The code Polish Woman, so you get $60.
Oh, you get a discount.
Yeah.
$60 off with the code Polish Woman. That's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
Definitely.
This is amazing. I'm like, where can they contact you? How can they reach you?
My website, it's just movenourishbreathe.com. Subscribe, send me an email, reach out, and just say, hey, I have some questions for you.
Social media accounts so they can follow you?
Yeah. On Instagram, it's Move Nourish Breathe. On Facebook, it's Move Nourish Breathe, and my name's Nadine Young, so you can search me that way as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Of course you
can. Because we're talking about sex.
Of course.
Do you have good sex with your husband?
What? Let me tell you something. When we have sex, it's really good.
There you go.
But am I as active as I want to be? No.
Yeah.
Because I do have a wonderful husband, and we have a great relationship, and I think that's one thing that we kind of let get lazy.
Sure.
Exactly.
And I'll kid him around, I'll tease him and say, I wouldn't need all these medications when I'm on medication if you were giving me more sex.
Right.
What is the name of your husband?
His name is Jeff. I'm not
Jeff, if you're watching this after she goes to Dr. San, oh my gosh.
Jeff is going to love Dr. San.
He's going to make your head like swirl.
Yeah. And I did say he's very good, so.
There you go.
I love her. Can we bring her back? I want to polish her. I want to do your hair.
Oh, thank you.
I want to fix your
want
outfit.
you to polish me, really. I would love it.
Because you're like, I feel like I want to help you. Yeah. I know that you can, I want your husband to be happy. So let's start with the pellet, which actually I'll show you.
Yes,
let's start
I'm
with
excited.
the pellet. Let's start with your nutrition, and then
get you on the right track.
Oh yeah, you have to buy this. You have to get.
You have to
like
read
a girl,
Jessica's book.
Definitely.
This is what you
so
forget. When you're married, you become lazy.
Yes.
You become lazy sexually, emotionally too, right?
Yes.
Sometimes and
goodness,
physically.
yes.
So by grabbing this book, it will help you. Like, oh my gosh, that's right. I have to do this. Oh my gosh, that's right. I have to give sex.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I've only been married 8 years, Jess, and when I read your book, it was mind blowing.
I know, she's
really
so
mind blowing.
So
I mean, I
sweet.
thought I was still in the exciting part of my marriage, and then reading through it, some of her tricks.
Yeah,
just
so
blew my
sweet.
mind.
I'm really excited.
I'm excited to see her. I want to call her, but
Yeah.
I want to call you. I want to call you back here when I do my fashion and beauty.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because I
Polish me.
want to call your husband in 4 months or 6 months and say, oh my gosh, thank you, Polish Woman.
There you go.
Okay, so as women, there's a tendency to minimize what we're going through. Don't do that. If you feel anxious or upset or unheard or anything else, acknowledge it and seek out help, or talk to your loved ones or someone you trust. Honestly, when I went through my anxiety, the best advice my homeopathic doctor was to talk to my husband sincerely about it. And I felt good right after. This is when real friends come in, talk, and cry if you can. You have to cry. Say something
out.
And then and most of all, for me, prayers. I really prayed a lot. I can be very religious, and I really set aside a few minutes in the morning for a guidance prayer to guide me throughout the day, and 30 minutes for my gratitude prayer in the evening. So tip of the day, find what you think that will be good for you. Do not stop or lose hope until you find that one thing that can cure your anxiety. Do not depend on pills. Please, no pills. Try not to spend your money to pay therapists. Trust me, there are better ways you can do than go to, make the therapy be the last resort. And then remember, Polish women, let's love one another. Give love to the first person you see today after watching this. See you next week.
Thank you.
You're listening to Polished Woman, only on LA Talk Radio.
I would love that. I really would. And I'm definitely going to follow through with Dr.